So you are ashamed of your mother because you have seen city life? You think money grows on trees because you now speak English and carry phone everywhere? And your father died and left us with nothing? Who carried you on her back to this same market? Who sold pepper in the rain so you could have school fees? Was it your city supermarket?
In our village, we say that a child who has never suffered does not know the value of a mother's hands. We say it, we teach it, we repeat it, but there are some children, you know the ones, who must learn it the hard way. In front of everybody, in the market, on a Tuesday morning that nobody will ever forget. This is one of those stories. Her name was Folake. Folake was 17 when this happened. You know that age when you think you know everything, when you've seen a little bit of the world and suddenly your parents become embarrassing. Yes, that age. Folake had just returned from the city where she was schooling. She came back to the village for the holidays. But let me tell you, this girl came back different. She walked like she owned the ground beneath her feet. She spoke with that forced accent that doesn't even sound like English or Yoruba, just confusion. And the way she looked at people in the village, like they were beneath her. One morning, her mother woke her up early. The sun was barely rising, but her mother was already dressed in her old wrapper, her headscarf tied the way village women tie it. Simple, no nonsense. Folake, come, we are going to the market. Now listen to what this girl said. She looked at her mother and said, "Mother, markets are for villagers. I have seen supermarkets in the city. This place is too dirty." Can you imagine? Her mother just looked at her. No anger, no shouting. Just looked at her with that look mothers give when they are disappointed in you. And she said quietly, "You will follow me." It wasn't a request. It was the voice of a woman who had carried this girl on her back when she couldn't walk. So Folake followed. But with every step, you could see the reluctance, the shame, like following her own mother to the market was a punishment. When they reached the village market, it was already buzzing with life. Women were sitting behind baskets of tomatoes so red they looked like they were blushing. Green peppers, dried fish that smelt like home. The aroma of palm oil mixed with fresh cassava filled the air. Children were running everywhere, their bare feet slapping the red earth, laughing and playing while their runners sold goods. And under the big Iroko tree, the old men sat fanning themselves with newspapers, discussing village politics like they were deciding the fate of nations. Folake walked 3 steps behind her mother, phone in hand, head down. She was ashamed. Ashamed of her mother's faded wrapper. Ashamed of those old rubber slippers with the broken strap. Ashamed of the way her mother greeted everyone, the yam seller, the woman with twins on her back, the old man selling bitakula, like they all mattered. She kept praying in her heart, "Please let nobody recognize me, please." But my friends, this was the village. In the village, everybody knows everybody. Your business is our business. They stopped at Mama Kemi's stall. Mama Kemi sold the best tomatoes in that market. Round, firm, fresh from the farm. Her stall wasn't the biggest, but her smile could light up the whole market. When Mama Kemi saw them, her face brightened. Mama Folake, your daughter has returned from the city. Oh, she is very fine. Look at her skin, shining like the morning star." Folake's chest swelled with pride. Yes, she thought, I am fine. I belong to a different world now. Mama Kemi was still smiling, still admiring, when she turned back to her basket and began arranging the tomatoes with both hands. "So how was the city? She is doing well, oh. You must be proud of her, Mama Folake." Her mother smiled quietly. "We thank God." "Good, good," Mama Kemi nodded, then looked up. "So what are we buying today? I have the freshest tomatoes in this market this morning. Nobody's own can compare. 200 naira for this basket." Now, Folake expected her mother to just pay and go, the way city people do. Quick, efficient, no conversation, just pay and leave. But her mother stood there, silent. She picked up one tomato, turned it over in her hands, examined it like she was looking for a hidden treasure. Then she asked calmly, Mama Kemi, is this the price you sell to strangers or to your own people? Mama Kemi laughed that knowing laugh. Ah, Mama Folake, you know how things are now. Everything is expensive. That's when Folake couldn't take it anymore. Her face was burning with embarrassment. People were watching. People were listening. She leaned close to her mother and whispered urgently, "Mother, just pay her and let us go. Please, don't disgrace me here." My brothers and sisters, let me tell you what happened next.
Her mother turned to her, slowly, and her eyes were not angry. They were disappointed. The kind of disappointment that cuts deeper than any cane. Then she raised her voice, not shouting, but loud enough, clear enough, so everyone within 3-4 stalls could hear. "So, you are ashamed of your mother because you have seen city life?" The market started growing quiet. Women stopped bargaining. Men stopped talking. Even the children paused mid-run. "You think money grows on trees because you now speak English and carry phone everywhere?" Folake wanted to disappear. She wanted the ground to open and swallow her whole. But her mother wasn't finished. "When your father died and left us with nothing, who carried you on her back to this same market? Who sold pepper in the rain so you could have school fees? Was it your city supermarkets?" The women started murmuring. Children of nowadays, they forget too quickly. Pride goes before a fall. Folake stood there, frozen like a statue. Tears were burning in her eyes, but she refused to cry. Not here, not in front of everyone. Then her mother did something that broke my heart when I heard it. She knelt down, right there in the market. Her knees creaked as she bent, and that's when Folake noticed for the first time how old her mother's hands looked. Scarred, rough, hands that had worked for years so this girl could eat, sleep, go to school. Her mother touched the tomatoes one by one, inspecting each one carefully. Then she spoke, not just to Mama Kemi, but to everyone listening. "In this market, we do not just buy food. We buy with wisdom. We bargain with respect. We honor each other. Because today, I buy from you. Tomorrow, you buy from me. This is how we survive." She looked at Mama Kemi. 150 naira. My daughter must learn how her people live. Mama Kemi's face softened. She looked at Folake, then back at her mother. 150. Take it, my sister. The mother counted the money slowly. Then she stood up and placed that basket of tomatoes in Folake's hands, forcing her to carry it, and looked into her eyes. "If you forget where you come from, the world will remind you in shame." Those words, simple words, but they pierced that girl's heart like arrows. They walked through the rest of the market in complete silence. Her mother bought yam, dried fish, palm oil. At every store, she greeted the sellers by name, asked about their children, their farms, their lives, and Folake carried everything, the physical weight of the food and the heavier weight of her shame. On the way home, her mother didn't say another word, just walked quietly, her old slippers making soft sounds on the dusty road. Folake walked behind her, watching her mother's back, the same back that had carried her as a baby, the back that had carried firewood, the back that had carried the weight of her survival when her father died. How had she never seen it before? That night, alone in her room, surrounded by her city clothes and her phone and all the things she thought made her better, she broke down. She cried. She cried for the woman she had been ashamed of, the woman who had sacrificed everything so she could have the privilege to be ashamed. She cried because she realized she had become someone she didn't recognize, someone who measured worth in accents and shopping malls instead of in sacrifice and love. The next morning, something changed. Folake woke up early. She found her mother's old wrapper and tied it around her waist the way she had been taught years ago. She picked up the basket and she asked, "Mother, can I follow you to the market today?" Her mother looked at her, and for the first time in days, she smiled. Not a big smile, just a small one, the kind that said, "Welcome home." From that day, Folake never looked down on the village again, because the village was where her story began, and the market was where her mother taught her the most important lesson of her life. You see, my friends, there is a saying in the village: a child who forgets the path home will be taught by the dust of the road. Folake's mother was her dust, her road, her home, and she never forgot again. Folake learnt her lesson that day in the market. But how many of us are still walking around with that same pride? How many of us have forgotten the hands that lifted us? If this story reminded you of someone, your mother, your father, your grandmother who sold in the market so you could go to school, go and honor them today. Call them, visit them, say thank you. And if you enjoyed this folktale, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this reminder. Drop a comment and tell me, what lesson did your parents teach you that you will never forget? Until next time, remember, never forget where you come from.